This is TWiT.
Now, this is a jam-packed show, so we're going to get right to it. First of all, I usually save the sad for the end, but I didn't want to really make this one the end because one of our heroes, our great friends, a guy we really love, passed this week at the age of let's see, 83. You may have noticed that we use these microphones everywhere on our shows, and many of our contributors are also using these microphones. I discovered these microphones in 2006 when I won. John, you were with me, weren't you? In Ontario, California, at the Podcast Expo. I think it was the second Podcast Expo in 2006, and as we won the best podcast for TWiT, I think, and this was the prize. And I thought, oh, how nice, a microphone. I have hundreds of these. But I connected it up, and I started talking into it. And I said, this is the best microphone I have ever used. And that's when I met the guy in a purple blazer named Bob Heil. Bob was a legendary, he was an interesting fellow. I read his obituary, by the way, on the funeral home site. And I learned something, a lot, that I didn't know. For instance, he began performing he was a great organist. And at the age of 15, he became a professional playing on the Wurlitzer Theater organ at the fabulous Fox Theater in St. Louis. Stan Can was his teacher and mentor, legendary organist. So he was a great organist.
So he was a Missourian.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah.
He's where I'm from.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It says in the obituary, because he had to tune this giant Wurlitzer with all of its pipes, thousands, literally, of pipes, he was taught, it says, how to listen, mentally dissecting discrete tones. And that led him to his second career, which, I mean, he started building pipe organs, but the second career really was, he opened Ye Olde Music Shop, a professional music shop in Marissa, Illinois. Eventually became the company Heil Sound. And rock and roll musicians started to come to him. In fact, if you watch our triangulation with Bob, he does tell this story. He started to come to him and ask him to design their sound systems. He designed for the Grateful Dead. He did the quadraphonic sound for The Who's Quadrophenia.
Wow.
Because the Grateful Dead came to St. Louis in February 1970 without a sound system, they went to Ye Olde Music Shop, and Bob said, I'll set you up. He provided his sound system. And from then on, Bob joined the Grateful Dead on the road, toured with The Who in their tour, which I saw in 1971, The Who's next tour. He also invented something that you'll probably know well if you loved the album, which was at the time the #1 album, called Frampton Comes Alive. Do you remember Peter Frampton going, I want... Oh.
Yes.
It was a talk box. Bob tells a story that Frampton's wife said, I need something for Peter's birthday. Can you come up with something? And Bob made what was called the Heil talk box, which was a hollow tube into a little amplifier that the guitarist would put in his mouth. It would play the music from the guitar into the tube, which he would then shape with his mouth into the microphone. And it gave it that wow. So he was able to talk with his guitar. It made Frampton Come Alive the #1 album of 1976. I vividly remember that sound. It was like, oh, I've never heard anything like this. Joe Walsh later picked it up with the Eagles. It's, in fact, the only manufacturer featured in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland because of that. I can go on and on. He was really a legend, but we know him best as a ham radio operator. He'd become a ham at the age of 13. His call sign, K9EID, was his call sign for his entire life. He built transmitters, and he got into the microphone business because he hated the sound of ham microphones at the time. So he said, I'm going to build a better microphone. And
I love that when people get into a business because there's something, they get into something because there's something they want to fix. You know what I mean? I love that.
Exactly.
That's great.
So we had, of course, Bob was the originator along with Gordo of our Ham Nation show back 2011 when we started that. That's why we have the whole radio corner over here with a ham radio kit and all of that from ICOM. And Bob was a great Elmer for hams like me, getting me started in the amateur radio field. And of course, very much a teacher and a leader in ham for many, many years. Heil Sound makes all our microphones. We'll continue to make all our microphones. But Bob Heil passed after about a year's battle. We knew he was not doing well with cancer this week at the age of 83. R.I.P. to the great Bob Heil. I'm sure he's up there in his purple choir outfit making the Heavenly Choir sound so much better. We will miss you, Bob. One of the greats in our business and in many businesses. Really a legend. Thank you, Bob.